Rebekah was barren, so Isaac prayed for her and God allowed her to get pregnant. But later, Rebekah complained to God because the baby inside of her was constantly jostling, and the Lord said to her, "2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples from within you will be separated. One people will be stronger than the other, and the older will serve the younger." Later, Rebekah gave birth to twin boys. The first boy was covered with red hair and named Esau, which sounds like the Hebrew word for hairy. When the second boy came out, he was holding on to his brother's heel and was named Jacob. Jacob means heel grabber. The text says that when the boys grew up, Esau became a skilled hunter and Jacob stayed among the tents. Esau is the stereotypical dumb jock and Jacob is the stereotypical mama's boy. One day, Esau comes in from hunting half-starved, and Jacob gets Esau to trade his birthright for some red stew. The text says that this event was one of the reasons that Esau came to be known as Edom, Edom meaning red, and Esau being the founder of the Edomites. Sometime later, Isaac prepared to give Esau the blessing of the firstborn. The text also notes that Isaac had gone mostly blind at this point, and while Esau was out hunting, Rebekah had Jacob dress up as Esau in order to trick Isaac into giving him the blessing. And Isaac fell for it, giving Jacob the blessing of the firstborn son. When Esau returned and found out, he wept and begged for a blessing of his own. So Isaac also blessed him, but said that he would be Jacob's servant for a very long time before he was free again. So Esau made up his mind to kill Jacob after his father had died. Rebekah realized that their plan had backfired on them, and she got Isaac's permission to send Jacob away to go live in Padan Aram and find himself a wife there. And so we come to the end of the Isaac narrative, pretty much right after it started. For some reason, the Bible has much more to say about the ancestors and the descendants of Isaac than it does about Isaac himself. However, that doesn't mean that his story is insignificant. No. Isaac's story is interwoven throughout the stories of his father Abraham and his son Jacob, the details of which form an intricate chiastic structure, the center of this chiasm being his marriage to Rebekah, with the surrounding narratives containing the themes of the death of a parent, genealogies, preservation, burden, the voice of God, the promise of the 2 sons becoming 2 nations, the difference between brothers, and ultimately, the desire of the mother to have the youngest son receive the blessing. But anyway, as Jacob was fleeing from Esau, he stopped to rest and had a dream. He saw a stairway connecting heaven and earth with angels coming and going on it. God spoke to Jacob, saying, "I am the Lord, the God of your father Abraham and the God of Isaac. I will give you and your descendants the land on which you are lying. Your descendants will be like the dust of the earth, and you will spread out to the west and to the east, to the north and to the south. All peoples on earth will be blessed through you and your offspring. I am with you and will watch over you wherever you go, and I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you." When Jacob awoke, he exclaimed, "God was here, and I didn't know it." Jacob then set up a memorial stone and named the place Bethel, which means house of God. So Jacob came to the land of the eastern peoples, and there he found a well with some shepherds at it. When his cousin Rachel arrived, he removed the stone covering from the well and watered her flock. Jacob then kissed her and started crying, telling her that he was her cousin. Rachel then ran off to find her father Laban, and Laban came and welcomed Jacob and took him into his home. Laban had 2 daughters, Rachel and Leah was the oldest. Now Jacob was in love with Rachel, and he made a deal with Laban to work for him for 7 years in exchange for his daughter. And the text says that he loved her so much that the 7 years seemed like only a few days to him. At the end of the 7 years, Jacob said, "Give me my wife, my time is up and I want to sleep with her." But on the wedding night, Laban dressed Leah up as the bride, and when Jacob woke up in the morning, there she was. Jacob was angry and demanded an explanation for this trick. Laban explained that it was customary to marry the older daughter before the younger one, and Laban said that if he wanted Rachel too, he would give her to him, but he needed to agree to work for another 7 years. And so Jacob agreed to this deal. And Jacob loved Rachel more than Leah, but both sisters turned out to be barren. The text says God saw that Leah was not loved, and he had compassion on her and allowed her to have children. When Leah birthed Jacob's firstborn son, she said, "God has seen my misery," and she named him Reuben, which means he has seen my misery. Later, Leah birthed Simeon, whose name means one who hears, saying, "God has heard that I am not loved." Leah then births Levi, whose name means attached, saying, "Maybe now my husband will become attached to me." Leah then births Judah, whose name means praise, saying essentially at this point, "Forget what my husband thinks of me, I'm going to praise God this time." But Rachel gets jealous of her sister's kids and gives Jacob her slave girl, Bilhah, to have kids on her behalf. Bilhah births a boy that Rachel names Dan, whose name means he has vindicated, saying, "God has vindicated me from this unjust situation with my sister and my husband." Bilhah also births a boy that Rachel names Naphtali, whose name means struggle, and she says, "I've beaten my sister in the struggle for my husband's affection." But Leah gets jealous of Rachel again and gives Jacob her own slave girl, Zilpah, to further the baby-making process along. Zilpah births a boy that Leah names Gad, whose name means good fortune, saying, "Another boy, what good fortune." Zilpah also births a boy that Leah names Asher, whose name means happy, saying, "Oh, this makes me so happy." Later still, Rachel gets jealous of Leah's mandrake flowers, which were thought to be an aphrodisiac at the time, and she exchanges bedtime with Jacob for them. Leah, however, gets pregnant again and births Issachar, whose name means reward, saying, "God is rewarding me for giving my slave girl to my husband." Leah also births Zebulun, whose name means honor, saying, "Look at all my sons! I will now be an honored woman." At some point, Leah also births a girl named Dinah. Nothing significant is said about her now, but we'll hear more about her later on. But God feels sorry for Rachel, who has still remained barren up to this point, and he heals her womb. Rachel births Joseph, whose name means "may he add," saying, "Give me another one, God." Rachel also births Benjamin later on, but that's a story that comes later, and it's not a very happy one.